Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Lunchtime Learning. Thank you so much for checking in. This week, I was working on a project with creating patches, and for obviously graduation's coming up, and what a great way to create embroidery for our fellow graduates, those that we know that are graduating, like creating a patch so that they can put it on anything that they want. You can even make the patch large enough to put on their graduation cap if you wanted to. So I thought I would show you how I created this one, which happens to use the barrel font, which is part of Essentials, the envelope layout, which is part of ACES-1 the Rewind, and PatchArtist. So this was a real quick project, and so let's pop on into the software and we'll walk through how we do this. Here we go. Software. Boom. Okay, here is the finished patch, but of course I'm going to walk you through the entire process. One thing that you do want to pay attention to is the size of the patch that you're working on. So I have my 4x4 hoop selected so that I don't have to measure my patch or adjust anything afterwards. So let's go into a brand new design page. And when I click on new design page, my default hoop comes up, which is my 5x7 hoop. So to quickly change that so that I know the size that I'm working on, I'm going to click on my properties. In my properties pane, the default screen comes up asking what hoop you want to select. I'm going to scroll down to find my 100 millimeter square hoop, which is approximately 4x4 inches, and I'm going to click apply and then OK. Now, just to let you know, in our screen here where it says apply to page, that's not going to change my default hoop. So it's going to keep whatever my default is all the time, but for this particular project, it's going to set it to whatever hoop I change. If you want to save it as a default hoop to always open in this when you open a new page, obviously, choose Save as Preference, click Apply and OK, and now your default hoop is set. So here's my 4x4 hoop, and then now I know that all the stitches that I need to create for my patch pretty much have to fit in this hoop size. I'm going to go into my library. Now that is where the ACES envelopes are installed. So if when you purchase ACES and you install the BX file, according to the instructions on the downloads page, which also has the supplemental manual, you'll see when you go to your library, from the pull-down menu, you can choose the library that you're going to work from. So we're going to work in ACES the Rewind. And for this, because I knew I wanted 3 lines, I'm going to scroll down until we get to the rectangle because I'm going to create a rectangular patch. And it says 3 lines rectangle, and we have all of these choices. Now, my thought was it's going to say senior across the top, and in the middle it's going to say class of, and then at the bottom 2005. So for me, the one that seemed to match appropriately is the one called pinch. And they are pre-filled, which makes that very easy to customize. So I'm selecting pinch, click OK, and it brings it in a little larger than my hoop. That's okay. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to select the design of my envelopes here at the top, and right up here at the top where in my platform menu bar, I'm going to choose fit to hoop. Now that if you're on the screen, it only resized just those envelopes, but that's okay because as soon as I click on each one of these lettering objects and type in my new information, it will resize and fit them right into the hoop. So on the very first one, I'm going to type in senior, S-E-N-I-O-R. Now I typed it all in capitals because that's what I wanted it to show up for. And as soon as I click on the enter key, it changes, pops down. When I click off, it resizes into that space. So I also know that I wanted to use barrel font. So as I'm making these choices, I might as well change everything at once. So I'm going to go to my pull down menu, and in Essentials, these, first of all, in ACES, you get all of the all capitals fonts that are here, but in Essentials, you also have the barrel font. So I'm going to select the barrel font because I thought it looked a little more rounded, a little more in the style that I was going for. So I'm going to type in senior, chose the barrel font, click off, it populates it. Now, one thing that I noticed when I had this here is that I can see my little connection stitches here. One of the tricks that I do when I know those are not going to trim because they're too close together. So one of the tricks that I'm going to do is adjust my spacing of my letters so that they are closer together. When I click off, now though, at least this one has become less obvious. And I don't really notice the one that's here or the one here at the top. I do notice the one that's between the I and the O. And that's simply because it's right in the middle at the nearest connection point. I can select that lettering object, click on the center dot of the O and snug it over a little bit closer so it fits in. Do the same thing for the R. Click off, and now it looks like it's been kerned so that it's really close together. And that's exactly what I did on the original that was shown on the stitch out. It may look a little too close, but machine embroideries, especially satin stitches, they shrink up. So I make them just so that they're touching. The machine will stitch at 99 miles an hour and be nice and fit together. So I got the first one done. Now I need to type in the next one. Now, if you don't remember to type in all capitals, so I typed in class of, and I didn't change it to capital letters. Because this is only a capital font, it automatically changes all the letters to capitals. There's no small letters in it. Again, for my pull down menu, I'm going to choose barrel font. I'm going to adjust my spacing a little smaller together to get rid of those spaces. But I want a little bit more space between class and of. Typing more spaces in the text pane isn't going to solve the problem. There is a slider in your properties pane here that you can adjust and make the spacing a little further apart. So again, when you click off, it automatically is going to space them out or space the word a little bit more. And again, we can use our little adjusters to move the letters closer together so that those connectors aren't so obvious. We don't want you taking out your little cuticle scissors here. And I happen to be one that likes to manually adjust my lettering as opposed to always using the sliders. It just gives me the power and the control that I really want. So I have senior and I have class of. The last one I need to put in here are the numbers. So 2025. Let's put the right date in. Hit the enter key. Now with this, and again, let's change it to barrel so that it all matches together. I'm going to move my little spacing a little closer just to get it all started. And when I click off, notice that it fills the entire envelope with those numbers. That isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, my plan is to create this as a patch, and I really wanted to add some graduation caps on either side. So that means I need spacing on the left side of the 2 and on the right side of the 5. The controls for your lettering it's done with the envelopes. Now, when you go and download from the Embrilliance website, you should get the supplemental ACES manual, the PDF file, because Eric, who is the person that developed all this and created this really cool stuff for us, he has documented how to adjust those letterings. So the only one that's adjusted is letters 2, which is the same as our letters 2, which is the center one. No, ours is going to be letters 3. Sorry. But if we wanted to adjust letters 2, which would be the center one, using the -C as a flag to type it into the name, that makes that enveloped word get squished and only be centered. Putting a -L for left will slide it over to the left, and a -R will slide it over to the right. So we have controls over those. So make sure if you have either ACES or PatchArtist, because they both have supplemental manuals, make sure you go and download those so that you learn about those controls. So how do you put those flags in there? Super easy. I put my mouse cursor point on the word letters, and I left click one time to select that option here, the name of the object. I put my mouse cursor between letters and 3 because that's the one I want to adjust, and I'm going to type in -C, and I'm going to hit the enter key, and when I click off of it, look at that. It automatically centered those so that they're not spread out, which gives me white space on either side. Oh, now I have a spot to put my little graduation caps. How do I get my graduation caps in there? Well, first of all, let me go and see if I can find them. You need to know where they are on your computer. And mine are in my Data's 99 folder, Embrilliance Captures, Senior Ace Patch, because I put them here. And there's my little graduation cap. Here he is. So I know where my cap is, and because I digitized him earlier and I saved him to the right folder, and I can see a little picture, which is nice because I have Thumbnailer installed. Oh my gosh, if I didn't have Thumbnailer, all you would see is generic icons and I wouldn't be able to find anything. So I see my little picture of my design, click, hold, drag, and drop him, and he puts it right in the center of my design page with the name of the design, which that's really kind of nice because I know exactly what it's called, and I can move him right into the spot where he belongs. If I had another, maybe the school mascot or another small design to put here, I could, but I don't. So I'm going to use a balanced hat. So I'm going to put this guy's on the left, and I'm going to copy, paste, and flip him. Super easy, guys. I'm going to select him, and I'm going to go up here to the top where it says copy, paste. Here's my little flip button at the top, and I'm going to move him over here to the side. And now I have my design layout, but my colors are a little off. So colors, of course, and when I mean off, it's going to stitch senior class of 2025 all in the same color. And if you want that way, that's great. But I want to use the colors of the school. So I'm going to, and they are these colors that are set in my graduation cap because I planned that when I digitized it. So the first thing I'm going to do is scroll up here to see letters 1, and I'm going to click on the color chip, click on the color tab, click on the color chip, and I can scroll through and find that color. But since he's already in my design page, in my color thread properties that's here, I'm going to click on palettes, and that brings up the colors that are currently in use on my design page. So there's my blueberry, which is what has already been decided. That's the color that I'm going to use. So I'm going to select it, click OK, and I'm going to do the same thing for the 2025. Click on the color chip, click on the blueberry, click OK. And actually I messed up. That's not supposed to be purple. Those are supposed to be the golden color. Sorry, super easy to change. Click on the gold, go up here, click on the gold. There we go. And the class of is going to have to be the blueberry. Oof. Goodness gracious. Saved. Love how easy it is just to click on between those. Now, I know that when I make a 4-inch patch with the border that's going to be around it, and this is based on my personal experience, I need all the contents that are going to be in the patch to be somewhere between 80 and no more than 85 millimeters, because I want to have a space around that patch. And so, like I said, I know this because I've made a few patches over the years. And so the easy way for me to make sure, first of all, I notice this because immediately I'm looking at the bottom of my screen and the width is 90. And that means when I add the patch edge, it's going to be over the size of my 4x4 hoop, which means I'm going to have to resize it anyway. So since I know 85 or 80 millimeters, I'm going to resize it. And I'm going to click on my little pinch guy here. And I'm going to, what am I going to do? Oh, I need to make him narrower. So I'm going to hold down my shift key and I'm going to resize him so that all these guys are about 80 millimeters, 82, whatever. And when I resized it, it all shrinks it down. However, my little hats didn't fit in there. And as you notice, I'm only resizing the text, okay? And I'm resizing the envelopes. So I don't have to click on the size here because they resize what the envelope size is. So that's what I'm doing and moving that in here. All right, so I got this guy here and I'm going to move this guy up so that he's here. Click off and I'm kind of adjusting. I'm 85.81 and that will work. Okay, so I'm pretty darn close to the size of where I need to be. Of course, I need to adjust my spacing. So how do I add a patch edge to this? Okay, that is done because I have PatchArtist installed. And I could do a page wrap, but I really I wanted to make a few of these for seniors, and I wanted to have a smooth edge, easy to cut. I can pre-cut with my silhouette or my scan and cut the twill that's going behind these. So I wanted to make it rectangular. To do that, I'm going to go to the utility menu and I'm going to go down to add patch edge and I'm going to choose rectangle. That will automatically fit it with its border around the size of my patch. And as you noticed, do you see how it puts a larger border? And again, this is scalable. And when you hold the shift key down, when you're resizing an object, that allows it will resize from center out. Okay, so when I hold down the shift key and grab a size of the patch, both sides move in at the same time. And I could have grabbed a corner, but because this is a rectangle and I'm really kind of customizing it, I do one side at a time. And I just hold the shift key as I'm doing it. But that's how you can get a smaller margin around your patch edge, which I think gives it, hey, it's a customized look. We have software. Let's make the adjustments that we can to match the software. Now I have my patch edge, and let me just center everything in my hoop completely so it's nice. Perfection. Now I'm going to adjust a few things on the patch. First of all, I wanted to do a light color. The background color needed to be true white, and so I shouldn't say true white. I wanted it to look like a thread patch, but I didn't want it to take forever to stitch. So on our patch interactive, which is what's going to stitch first, when I select this, I can click on my interactive tab at the top, which allows me to make some choices. If I'm going to use twill, that's the color white or the exact color I want, or denim or whatever it is that I'm putting in here, and cut it out when I'm finished with the entire patch, that's the option that I would choose. However, I want to add a light fill on top of this so that it looks a little bit more like it is stitched with thread. Okay, so it gives it a little elevated look. Now we have two light fills. One is the default setting, which is great, but we also have the advanced, which lets us make a few changes, such as the density, which is if you wanted to stick mylar behind your fill and have some sparkle come through. Maybe you want to increase the density, which is the distance between the rows, and that would allow you to put mylar down first and have some sparkle stitching out. I like the 0.8 density for when I am stitching just a flat fill. Stitch length, I'm going to leave it the same. My angle of stitching, I'm going to change that just a hair so that it gives it a little bit of a diagonal look to it. I don't want to go a full diagonal just because I don't. But you're allowed to change your angle of your stitching. Where it has your the position stitch, that's going to put a positioning stitch that you could put your fabric down. And I did have polyester twill stitched first on the back side of it, and I'm stitching on top of it. And I have my adjustment of my top stitch. Okay, so we have those options. Now the colors are a little strange on this interactive. And that's because it uses the default colors. So it doesn't matter what thread color you use. So I'm going to just leave the position stitch as this default. This goldy color here, which is the material stitch, that is the color of thread that's going to be in this background. So when I click on that material color, I don't want to use one of these colors here. So I need to go back to my thread color, and I'm just going to choose the white, or that's a white opal metallic, whatever color I need to choose. That's a good color. It's going to be white. So that's where it is. The top stitch, which is the color that's going around, I want to make that the exact same color as that blueberry so that it matches completely. Click OK. Kaboom. There's my little patch, and he is ready to go. So color number 1 is going to stitch my position stitch. Color number 2 is going to stitch that background stitching, and then we have the stitching of the patch edge. This color here that says darkest blue, that's in envelopes. There's no stitches on it. If you click on your envelopes, notice no stitches down here, so I don't need to worry about it. And of course, now it's going to stitch my lettering, which is multicolored, and then it's going to stitch out this. So I have Essentials installed because that's where the ACES barrel font came from. And one of the features of Essentials is color sorting. And when you have a patch like this, where there's multiple lettering objects that are the same colors that are going to stitch out, it makes perfect sense for us to do a color sort. So I have my USB in my computer ready to go. I've changed all the colors as I want. My layout looks exactly as I want it to look. So I'm ready to go to my embroidery machine. So my next step is to go to Utility. I'm going to choose Color Sort. It brings up a dialog box, and I don't need to worry about any of the settings because I'm not removing any hidden stitches. It's only one applique. I don't need to worry about that stuff. The only things I'm sorting here are the stitches on top. So I go to New View just to verify what it's going to do. Expand it, and I'm going to select. This is my applique position, which is going down first. That shows me where my tack down or the fabric needs to go for my fabric. Next is going to stitch is the light fill, which is going to be that white color. Color number 3 is the purpley color. Color number 4 is the golden color. That's going to stitch the lettering and the tassels. I am done. So I'm going to go to File, Save Stitch File As. At this point, I'm going to choose my little USB. I have to put it in the right folder, and I'm going to make sure it's in the JEF format because for me, that's where I'm stitching it on, is going to be on my Janome. Type in the name, which will be Senior Patch. Whoops. Maybe type it in correctly. Click Save, and it automatically saves to my USB, so I can export my USB, put it on my machine, and I am good to go. I don't need to save this file because he's going to be stitching at my machine, and I can't make any adjustments to him. He is just stitches. So it's a position stitch, a fill stitch. I can't change anything here. So I'm just going to close him because he's stitching at my embroidery machine right now. So I don't even have to save him. This one here, however, does have my objects in it. So if I'm thinking ahead, maybe I want to make patches next year for the class of 2026, or I'm going to make patches for a different school or whatever it is, or maybe I change designs. This file has all the superpowers because it has all the objects in it. So this one, I'm going to go to my File menu, save my working file, which is what will contain all those. And I'm going to choose the location where he needs to be, which is not my USB drive. He needs to be back into my Senior Ace patch folder. because I like to keep my things organized. And we are going to call him Facebook Senior Patch. And maybe put the date on it in case that's important. Whatever information you want to do, click save. Now my working file is saved to my computer, which means I can edit it at any time in the future and be able to create another patch if I needed to. Thank you so much for joining us today. This video will be saved here to the Facebook page. I guess it'll be available for the next 30 days. It will also be uploaded to our Embrilliance YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch it as a replay in the future as soon as we get it uploaded. Thank you and have a fantastic afternoon.